There have been times in history when science in which the silence grows louder than any other explosion. One of these is this. Among them, it wasn't a dying asteroid, star, or a newly formed galaxy that caused the warning. The silence was itself, the orbiting James Webb Space Telescope, observing the universe from 1,000,000 miles away. Deeper into space than any other before, the human-made instrument was. Prior observation of a space region thought to be empty to the core. A dead space between galaxies, a blind spot in the cosmic map. What? Then? It was discovered there, broken assumption. In the quietest section of the cosmos, a shadow was seen. By the telescope that wasn't casting light nor reflecting it. It was eating it up. And then something even more bizarre transpired. That darkness moved slowly, deliberately, as if it knew we were watching. What the telescope recorded after that compelled a group of astrophysicists, cosmologists, and mathematicians to abandon known models of totality in reality. Because of this, no comet, no pulsar, no black hole. This was something else, a factor that thinks, something that reacts, and perhaps something that remembers. This is the story of what James Webb just found hidden in the depths. An object so frightful in its behavior and so out of place in its physics that researchers have begun whispering the unthinkable. What if it's not from our universe at all? Music, it all began during a deep field survey near the vast Aerodana supervoid. A space that is almost mythic and famous for its mysterious cold spots and unusually low density of galaxies. During calibration of infrared sensors for a galaxy mapping project, the James Webb Telescope picked up an anomaly too symmetrical to be natural, yet too chaotic to be artificial. Instead of seeing distant interstellar gas or galaxies, the telescope detected a perfect circle of silence. It didn't let any light out. No light bent around it. This wasn't lensing due to gravity, was more like an omission from the fabric of the universe as a whole. Like dropping ink into a still glass of water and watching the water vanish instead. That's what the data demonstrated, an area not just void of matter, but void of physical law. Initial theories suggested it might be a previously unknown type of black hole. However, the calculations of mass did not add up. There was no X-ray emission, no gravitational ripple, just a cold, dark region of utter stillness that made no sense at all. After that, over a number of days, the perimeter of that object started to change. Not like an orbiting celestial body, but similar to something breathing. Music researchers from a variety of institutions started looking into the light. Echoes surrounding the anomaly. What they discovered was more alarming than any black hole or supernova could ever be. The flickers of distorted light that rippled away from the object weren't random. They followed a precise sequence, intervals that corresponded with prime numbers, first 2, then 3, 5, 7, 11. As if the object wasn't just existing, it was signaling. But signaling to what or whom? What's more, this signal wasn't electromagnetic. There was no radio, gamma, infrared, or any other known wave. Space-time was disrupted as a result itself. The Webb telescope's most sensitive gyroscopes recorded. Microscopic shifts that coincided with each signal exploded. Like something was nudging the structure of reality on a fundamental level. It didn't just break the astrophysics regulations. It mocked them. Mathematicians were brought in. Quantum physicists pored over the data. The conclusion. These were not organic pulses, but traces of intention. No known stellar object behaves this way, not quasars, not matter clumps, not even rogue planets. The precision was surgical, the rhythm unmistakably artificial, and some believe it might not be the signal of something alive, but something aware. Music, then came the moment. No one expected. In a follow-up inspection carried out precisely 27 days after the first detection, the James Webb team observed a displacement. The object once thought to remain stationary shifted, not through dimensions rather than space. It didn't drift, like a comet, or accelerate like a ship. It blinked, like a flash that moves from one place to another, as if skipping across the cosmic fabric, not traversing it. It came back just 0.004 away from where it had been. It's an imperceptible fraction to the human eye, but disastrous for the calculations of scientists. Because anything that can move away from itself without leaving a trail means it's not bound by the speed of light. It indicates that it is not time-bound. The only known resemblance to this type of behavior in quantum theory is real, instantaneous responses from entangled particles over great distances. But this wasn't subatomic. This was a structure the size of a small moon, behaving as if the laws of classical physics were a mere suggestion. When astrophysicists simulated the movement, they found something even more unnerving. The pattern of its reappearances formed a spiral pointing toward Earth from inside. After 4 months of investigation, the team was no longer asking whether the object was dangerous. They wanted to know if it was thinking. Geometric patterns around the anomaly began to stabilize into fractal formations, self-replicating shapes that echo biological structures, not bones or organs, but like neural pathways. The more the telescope looked, the more the patterns evolved, adapting to the sensor's orientation, correcting themselves in real time. Resembling in some ways, it was getting used to being watched. Scientists coined a chilling term for this behavior, the geometry that responds. Some even speculated the object may be a kind of dimensional antenna, or worse, a constructed living thing that doesn't move to maintain its position while waiting for something. One AI model, trained to simulate the recognition of alien patterns algorithms, broke down when fed the data from the telescope. It looped, froze, and finally returned a single word in its error record: recognized. The message was clear, though. No one dared to say it out loud. This isn't a discovery, it's a reply. After collecting more data for weeks, the Webb team discovered an odd phenomenon, not in the object itself, but in the surrounding field. A background radiation shift, almost imperceptible at first, began to emerge, unlike cosmic microwave bursts or the background of stars' radiation. This signal was oddly synchronized with the object's pulses, but delayed, as if we were experiencing an echo. Spectral analysis confirmed something chilling. The signal contained harmonic layers that shouldn't be there, frequencies arranged not by random emission, but interspersed, resembling musical chords. Some scientists began calling it the song of the empty space, but others were less poetic. A signal like this, they said, is almost impossible to generate unless there's a deliberate mechanism behind it. Not a chaotic star formation, but an engineered pattern. Even more troubling, the waveform harmonics weren't stable. They had a slight reaction to Webb's positional changes. This led to a horrifying hypothesis. The signal was not passive, it was interactive. It was watching, measuring, resounding, as if the goal was more than just broadcasting. It was observing. Despite the increasing panic behind the scenes, a collection of conceptual, a team of mathematicians was brought in to look at the pulse's numerical structure. When that occurred, everything changed. Hidden in the timing of the signal sequence was a mathematical concept embedded in a constant that does not occur naturally in known events in the universe: the lemur prime, a spiral. A set of prime numbers plotted in a spiral pattern that has long baffled theorists about its strange connection to nature. But it was precisely repeated at intervals between the anomaly's distortions. It was thought by some scientists to be a universal language, comparable to a calling. It's a mathematical Rosetta Stone, or worse, an identifier. If that was placed by someone or something's signature there, it would mean they comprehended the underlying lead structures of our reality. And what came next drove even more fear. When the order was formed, it created a three-dimensional graph. It's a complex helix that is almost identical to the human genome's double helix. Coincidence? Perhaps. Yet, when the numbers were analyzed by scientists, they realized the timing intervals. In the pulses matched genetic codons used in our own biochemistry, there wasn't just something watching. Someone knew what it was looking at us, and may have known us before we ever saw it. When that occurred, everything began to quiet. Web data that is freely accessible streams experienced a sudden delay. Access logs from research observatories began disappearing, and key scientists involved in the anomaly study began stepping away from their posts. Press releases from the involved agencies changed their tone. Once stuffed with enthusiasm and openness, they evolved into bureaucratic, evasive, and vague. The information that several international space agencies were compelled to withdraw into emergency meetings, including NASA, the European Space Agency, and even private entities like Blue Origin and SpaceX, not because the object posed an immediate danger, but because no one could verify that it was not already present. There were a lot of theories. Was this a sentry, some kind of probe, or a warning beacon? The moment it was found was chilling in itself. It only appeared after the instruments we developed were capable of seeing it, meaning it had either existed continuously or waited until we were ready. But perhaps this was the most worrying aspect. Deep space probes launched decades ago, like Voyager and New Horizons, had passed close to this area without finding a thing, which means the object is either disguised as standard instruments or it wasn't there before. Music as usual, the final act occurs silently. On the 48th day of targeted Webb observation, prior to the telescope being supposed to change to another area in space, something changed. The hallmark of the anomaly disappeared. No pulses, no distortions, just static. However, before that silence settled in, Webb sensors captured one last image of composite in infrared light unlike anything previously seen. It was not a shadow, there was no distortion. It was a shape, symmetrical, angular, perfectly proportioned, resembling an inverted sigil in space. It also lasted only 3 frames, too short for complete decoding. But fabricated intelligence. Analysis proved the structure was not haphazard, was geometric, composed of nested triangles, circles, and lines forming a recursive pattern. And then it vanished. Consequently, nothing has returned. Yet the data persists. There is still silence. And perhaps the most frightening of all is the possibility remains that whatever this was, whatever is out there, didn't leave. Simply, it stopped allowing us to see it. So, what exactly did James Webb see there? A silent watcher in the cosmic dark. A signal intended for those advanced enough or inconsiderate to notice. Or maybe just a glitch in reality that we were never supposed to decode. The terrifying truth is this: the more we dig, stare into the void, the more the void appears to react. What we once believed to be a blank canvas is beginning to appear, to be a mirror, and possibly, just maybe, something on the other side has finally seen us looking back. This space is no longer relevant to discovery. It concerns what we are unable to understand. It's about the possibility that we've started a discussion with an intelligence that doesn't use language, but rather rhythm, geometry, and silence. And the worst part, we still do not know whether it is attempting to communicate or to advise us. There is one certainty. James Webb did more than just collect data. It opened a door. And what lies in wait behind it could change everything we thought we knew, not only in relation to the universe, but about ourselves. If this story made you inquire about what is available and what might already be keeping an eye on us, don't forget to subscribe to get more videos like this, one frightening discoveries. And sound the bell icon so that you never miss when once more the universe breaks its silence. This is not a science fiction story anymore. Science is reacting like this.